Welcome back to the channel today, guys. And man, you miss 1 week. You miss 1 week of a show, and it feels like a whole month has gone by. It feels like it's been forever since we've had Hell's Paradise, guys. But it's back, and I'm quite happy about it. We had a crazy episode today. They decided that after last week, our very sad, depressing episode we had, they decided, for half of our episode today, we just need straight hands. We need to just throw straight hands the whole episode. And it was great. But not only do we get hands thrown and some awesome scenes, we get a lot of questions answered, specifically about the Tensen, as we unveil even more mysteries about Shinsenkyo. And there's a lot to talk about, actually, guys. I was waiting for this episode. We really do a deep dive, so without further ado, let's just get straight into it and talk about Hell's Paradise, episode 9 today, because we got a lot to go over. So after that huge information dump we got in our episode before last week's, our gaggle of misfits are obviously kind of confused right now. They have a lot of information getting thrown at them all at once, and it's hard to process. Look at our boy Senta here. He is stressed the hell out. So naturally, our characters want to take time to rest and take a reprieve while they can to process this information. As we hear Senta tell Gabimaru, there's too many mysteries. It's dangerous to act until we figure things out to some degree. As he says, if the Tensen guard the elixir of life, it'd be dangerous for us to enter Horai without a plan. Horai is the center part of the island, by the way, in case you guys forgot. And it's here with that in mind. We see Gabimaru actually decides to go off on his own to go get the elixir, believing it to be safer this way. Which, to be fair, it is and it isn't. And it's here as he's traveling to the elixir, Gabimaru thinks to himself, okay, we reached the village after traveling south through the woods from the beach. If Hoko is to be believed, I should approach Horoi, the center region, if I continue south. But it's here as Gabimaru makes his way to this open clearing. We see that Shinsenkyo has more mysteries to uncover as he suddenly hears these trees singing eerily. And as we see hundreds of these eerily deformed trees, Gabimaru says, they're chanting sutras? As he says they have to be praying to something. But what? But it's here, having no answers for these mysterious trees around him, he decides to move on, as we see that he's getting followed by someone. Remember this for later, guys. And it's here as he continues running, he comes face to face with this giant gate in the middle of this plain. As he thinks to himself, if this place is Horai, then the elixir's gotta be behind here. But all of a sudden, we see the return of Zhu Jin out of nowhere behind Gabimaru. And even he is shook. He didn't sense them approaching at all. As Gabimaru notices immediately, this thing is trouble. As Zhu Jin suddenly says, why do people gotta keep coming when it's my turn? As he tells Gabimaru, would you mind leaving? I already fought some of you earlier. We're supposed to capture you humans when I find you, and it's a frickin' pain. But it's here, Gabimaru picks up on the key information that he let slip that I want you guys to pay attention to as well, as he says, so wait, you can turn humans into the elixir? And upon hearing that, talking is done, it's time to throw hands. And as our fight starts, Gabimaru's putting in work. He's putting the hands on Zhu Jin. As Gabimaru deduces that, okay, this thing can regenerate, and it's stronger and faster than its build suggests. As he thinks, is this one of the Tensen? And as our fight continues, we see Gabimaru use his ninjutsu on Zhu Jin, trying to burn him alive. But it's here all of a sudden, in a really cool scene, we see that it had no effect as he sends Gabimaru flying. And it's here when our smoke clears, we just hear Gabimaru ask, it's a bit late to ask this, but Are you a Tensen? Kind of a redundant question at this point, but whatever. As Zhu Jin asks him, are you a human? Pay attention to this line, guys, for later down the road. That's all I'll say. And it's here after that quick exchange, our fight begins again, even fiercer than before. And it's here as they're fighting, Gabimaru quickly realizes that the longer this fight drags on, the worse it's gonna be for me. So he has to end it quickly. As he thinks, okay, this thing is immortal, and my eccentric blaze was ineffective. What other options do I have? But it's here, as we see he delivers a kick to his gut. He immediately realizes that something's wrong, as it actually hurts Zhu Jin and he spits up blood. As he notices that Zhu Jin actually reverted back to his female form. Kinda think of it like how Gohan hit 18 out of Cell in Dragon Ball Z, guys. Think of it like that, kinda. And it's here Zhu Jin says something that I think you guys should really take note of, as they say, your physical capabilities. You probably don't realize it yourself, but you're probably... But then says, you know what? Never mind. You'll find out eventually. Don't you love it when shows blue ball you like that, guys? Isn't it great? And it's here as we see Zhu Jin coat their hands with this mysterious power, and our fight continues again. We see that Gabimaru's in a bit of trouble, as he takes a humongous blow to the gut. A true gut-wrenching hit. As we see, he just immediately starts getting pounded blow after blow by Zhu Jin. As he remembers Mai used that same power on him in a previous episode. But knowing what it is and being able to stop it are two separate things, as Gabimaru just gets absolutely rocked. But it's here, through the power of his wife. He musters up his strength and says, you know what? I don't need a plan. No matter what happens, I can't stop moving. No matter what happens, I'll make it back alive. As they're trading blow after blow after blow, they're getting messed up. We quite literally turn into a DBZ fight for a second, guys. And as their fight continues, Gabimaru just starts completely and utterly overwhelming Zhu Jin, literally beating them into the freaking ground and smashing their face into it. That's the good old power of marriage, kids. And after beating him to a pulp, Gabimaru just says, tell me now, where's the elixir? But it's here, Zhu Jin just smiles at him, as we see flowers start growing all over his body. And it's here we see he starts transforming into a flower that blooms into a hideous monster that looks like it came straight out of Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen at the same time. Somehow. And within seconds, Zhu Jin immediately rocks Gabimaru. And as we see, our boy Gabimaru hasn't given up yet. He just gets rocked again. And this time he's looking a little rough around the edges, as he immediately uses his eccentric blaze. Or tries to, as his body actually gives out on him from the strain he's put it under. This man's gotten beat to hell on this island, man. It makes sense for his body to be like, you know, let's take like 20 minutes, okay? And at this point, Gabimaru's just getting tossed around like a doll. He's getting the hell kicked out of him. As he gets hit so hard, he actually asks himself, is this real? Is this the real world right now? But it's here in this moment as we transition to our next scene. He actually does open his eyes and sees his wife staring at him. As he says, I see. So it was all a dream, huh? And it's here as we're in this very warm, comfy space right here. Gabimaru just suddenly smiles as he tells her, you know, I'm really glad that even if this is a dream right now, I'm glad I got to talk to you. As reality fades back in and he says, I might not make it back home. Because as we transition back to the here and now, Gabimaru is messed up. He's done. And it's here in his last-ditch effort to try to stay alive, we just hear Shinobi Rule number 20. If you are facing death, then draw on whatever life you have left to deal as much damage as possible to the enemy before dying. As we see Gabimaru unleash everything he has left right here to break free from the grasp of Zhu Jin. And it's here at the last possible second before he's about to get finished off. We actually see Mai come to his rescue right here, as she ends up putting a barrier around herself and Gabimaru as they safely escape down the cliffside, unbeknownst to Zhu Jin. But it's here as he releases his transformation. Zhu Jin says something very interesting as he says, Mai, what do you think you're doing? And as we transition to our next scene and we come back to the others, we see that they want to go search for Gabimaru right now. As Hoko even says, if you're going to Horai, which is the center of the island, I will accompany you. And it's here as we transition to all of them going to the center of the island to look for Gabimaru. Obviously, we have to have some small talk along the way, a little conversation. As Yuzuriha says, alright, so if we go to Hori, those troublesome Tensen are going to be there, right? As she asks him, who exactly are the Tensen? Tell us about them. And it's here, it's time to get to our information dump time, baby. But it's important information, so you guys need to pay attention. As Hoko says, the Tensen are 7 hermits. And it's here we actually transition to the Tensen themselves sitting around a table enjoying tea with each other. Very human-like, you would say. As all of a sudden, one of them appears and says, enough chit-chat, let's make our reports. As we just hear, some humans arrived several days ago, and they seem different from previous humans. There aren't many of them, but they're fierce. As we just hear Zhu Jin, this is your fault for keeping watch so sloppily. You allowed the humans you found on the beach to escape, and last night you struggled against another human you met in front of the gates. You're pathetic, as he actually sends Zhu Jin's head flying. As they add, not only that, but judging by your appearance, you've been using too much Tao. I can't believe a human forced you to use your Kishikai transformation, as we see that Zhu Jin has aged dramatically. Pay attention to that. And it's here the head of the Tensen, who is named Rian, actually asks, did you deal with the humans you encountered in the woods properly? Talking about Choabe and his brother. As he's told, yeah, I brought them near death and I threw them in the pit. They should be flowers by now. But Rian tells them flat out, don't underestimate them. As he adds, the corpse of a Monshin was discovered as well. Anyone capable of killing one of those is no ordinary human. Between them and the human Zhu Jin cornered last night, something's different this time. If they make it out of that pit, which they do, you'll find injured beasts can be terrifying creatures. And if the humans who arrived with them are just as capable, then this will be rather difficult. As Rayan asks Zhu Jin, you killed the man who forced you to use your Kaishikai transformation, didn't you? As Zhu Jin mistakenly says yes. As Rayan says, well, no matter what comes our way, there's only one thing we want. And it's here as he pours this liquid into all of their glasses. Oh, the elixir! And we see them drink it. Zhu Jin completely is revitalized, rejuvenized, regained their looks. And they are pissed. But it's here as we transition back to our gaggle of misfits one more time. It's time for that good old information dump as we just hear. So there are 7 immortal beings on this island? As Hoko says, they say that originally there was only one. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce these names on the screen, guys. I'm not going to. I'm not gonna hurt your ears, and I'm not gonna hurt my tongue with that. And as Hoko continues, he says, a hermit who mastered their art and became a god split into these 7 parts. They all look and sound the same, but their personalities and roles are different. Together, the 7 of them rule this island. But that's only a legend from when I was a child. As Yuzuriha says, a child? What were you, like a leaf back then? Good joke, by the way. As Hoko reveals to them that, no, I used to look just like you. Everyone who lives on the island looked human once. They were just longer lived and more devout than your kind. But it's here as Hoko leads them all to the giant clearing of praying trees. I think you guys can piece together what happened. As he says, the villagers prospered until 1,000 years ago. Though our lives are long, we transform before we die. As he reveals that their bodies slowly become trees. The transformation progresses regardless of our age, and we lose our awareness as well. And just before that happens, we all gather here. As Hoko tells them, you know, my awareness is fading as well. I had a family, but they've transformed. And this here is my daughter. As he tells them all, Horai is the final resting place for souls. The Tensen are gods that choose who will enter Horai. They mustn't be defied. And it's here as we transition to our final scene of the episode. We see Gabimaru waking up on what appears to be a riverbed as he thinks to himself, so these things are neither hermits nor gods. They're true monsters. As he says, good. If they're monsters and not gods, then there must be a way to kill them. I can't be reckless. I need to come up with a plan to fight them this time. As he thinks to himself, I'm definitely going to need a couple more people to do this. But it's here in this moment we just hear, I thought I'd found a moving rag, but you're that shinobi. As we see the Blade Dragon himself, Tamiya, is here with his Asamon. As he tells Gabimaru, you're looking a little ragged. Is it time for you to die? And on that not so subtle threat, our episode ends. And man, guys, it's been a week since we had Hell's Paradise, but I'm very happy it's back. This episode actually gives a lot of information about the series moving forward. I've seen some people who are still confused about the show as we've been progressing through the episodes, and I kind of get that. For me, at least, since I've read the manga, I know what's going to happen already. So nothing they're saying here is throwing me for a loop or surprising. But to someone who hasn't read it, I can get how them just piecing little bits of information here and there every once in a while could get a little confusing. So this episode really did a pretty good job, actually, of giving a clear idea of okay, this is our objective. These are what's standing in our way. How are we going to get there? And I think the rest of the season is going to be great. You guys just watch. I think we're going to have a great rest of our season of Hell's Paradise. I'm very excited for what's going to come next. And I know you guys will be too. So let me know your thoughts on this episode down below, because again, it was a pretty good one. But until next time, guys, I hope you all have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces. Have a blessed day, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.